In this lecture, you'll learn about subnets, which give you a convenient way to allocate IP addresses to your logical interfaces. Subnets allow the creation of specific blocks or pools of IP addresses, which give you easier LIF creation. A subnet is created within a broadcast domain, and a default gateway can, and usually will, be defined when creating a subnet. If subnets are not used and you want a default route, then you would have to do that manually. And I'll show you how to create manual routes at the end of this lecture. So let's have a look at how our subnets work. Here we've got the usual example. We've got Department A and we've got Department B, and they're going to have their LIFs in different IP subnets. So we create a subnet for Department A and a subnet for Department B. The Department A subnet has got the address block of 10.10.10.10 to 10.10.10.30, and the Department B subnet has got the address block of 192.168.20.10 to 192.168.20.30. So we create those two subnets. We also specify the default gateway for each subnet as well. Then later, when we create our LIFs, we can say that we want them to get an IP address from that subnet. So when we create our first LIF for Department A, we say that we want to allocate it an address from the Department A subnet. It will get the first IP address in the pool, which was 10.10.10.10. Then when we create our second Department A LIF, again we say we want it to get an IP address from the subnet. It will get the next available one, which is 10.10.10.11. When we create a LIF for Department B, we say to allocate an address from the Department B subnet. So the first LIF will get 192.168.20.10. The next LIF will get 192.168.20.11. So it just gives us a convenient way to allocate the IP addresses to our LIFs. And it is recommended to use subnets because when we do this, we're less likely to make a mistake or a typo when we are specifying the IP address. If you create a subnet and it includes IP addresses which are already in use, so they've already been manually put on a LIF, then use the force update LIF associations field to associate the existing LIFs with the subnet. If you don't do that, then when you try to create the subnet, the ONTAP system will give you back an error saying you can't create that pool because there's already an IP address in use from that range of addresses. And when you create a LIF, you can assign an IP address either manually or from a subnet. Again, it's recommended to use the subnet because it's more convenient, less likely to get mistakes. Okay, last thing to talk about here is static routes. So each SVM has its own routing table. The default gateway, which is created when creating a subnet, will normally suffice to handle the routing requirements for the SVM. But static routes can also be configured. So if you have a strange situation like you see in the diagram here, then we can use static routes to configure the routing however we want it. And really, this would be a very strange situation. You would not normally see this, but I'm showing you it here just so you can understand that if you ever do have a network topology like this, then you can configure static routes. So in the example, over on the left here, we've got the network of 172.16.10.0/24, and it is available through the router at 192.168.0.2. All other networks are available through the router at 192.168.0.1. So the normal situation would be just what you see on the right here, where all networks would be available through a particular router, 192.168.0.1. We would configure that as the default gateway in the subnet, and then that's our routing all done. But if we did have this unusual situation here where there's another part of the network which is available through another router, then we would configure static routes to set that up. So how we would do that is go into the command line, and the command is network route create, specify the vServer that this route is for, then the destination. For your default route, the destination is 0.0.0.0/0, and then the gateway for our example there was 192.168.0.1. Then we create the second route, network route create for vServer department A. Here the destination is the 172.16.10.0/24 network, and we say the gateway there is 192.168.0.2. So now if we sent traffic to the IP address of 172.16.10.10, for example, that would actually match both routes, but it's going to hit this 172.16.10.0 route because it is more specific. So now any traffic for the 172.16.10.0 network from the NetApp system will go to 192.168.0.2. Everything else will go to 192.168.0.1. Thanks for watching. If you want to get hands-on practice with NetApp storage for free on your laptop, then you can download my free ebook, which you can see above my head right now. Also check out my NetApp Storage Complete course, which will teach you everything you could possibly want to know about ONTAP. Thanks.